Alright guys, what's going on? This is Liam here. Welcome to another live video. Just thought I'd show you where I kind of live. So I'll show you this. This is obviously Chiang Mai, Thailand. This is in a university. Don't worry, we're going to get to some content. I'm going to teach you guys about plant toxins. Okay? There's lots of, I guess there's an interview going on over there or something. You get lots of cool stuff. I'm going to go for a walk around here and I'm going to teach you about plant toxins. Hey, Emily. August, how you doing? I got your question, so I'm going to answer that. Supplements, yes. So August, you asked me about supplements. Still do take supplements. Spanish black radish, if you see it, there's a lady at the moment who's getting almost silence every time she takes Spanish black radish, which is obviously a sign that mold was a problem for her. What's up, Omar? How you doing, man? So for those of you who just joined, if you have any questions, please post them now. If you have any personal questions that you don't want other people to see, for example, you got problems with your menstrual cycle or you're getting weird acne or something like that, or both, whatever it is, you can send me a direct message and I'll find it and I'll answer it without saying your name, so you can still get a live question, okay? So once again, I'm just here in Chiang Mai, and the topic of today's video is 2 plant toxins, okay? We're going to talk about photosynthesizers and salicylates, okay? And I'm going to fix my hair, yes, every 15 seconds because it's bloody hot where I am right now. You can see, hey Jesper, what's going on? This is just a university that I live next to. Okay, that's vegan drinking water. Actually, no, that's vegan blood. Right, sorry. Anyway, enough of the jokes. So let's get into the story first. Okay, so I'm just going to move the comments to the side for a sec so I can see that I've got myself in a shot. So the story first. So I had a girl contact me recently. I posted her information, or her story she told me, on Instagram. By the way, it's Liam_stops_tinnitus. Liam_stops_tinnitus. So the story goes like this. She got tinnitus. I think she's about 17 years old. But you know, people always think, oh, the younger people always get rid of tinnitus quicker. Well, the lady in the group who's using the Spanish black radish and nearly has silence is certainly not 17 years old. So you can go check that out in the group now. Anyway, as I was saying, this girl contacted me and said, Liam, it's working. The stuff you advised me is working. My tinnitus is nearly gone. I want to say thanks, but I need a bit of advice. Her words to me. I'm not much of a vegetable person. What should I do? Should I take more vegetables, or should I keep doing what I'm doing? And my advice to her was actually to eat no vegetables. So cut out the vegetables completely, okay? And so isn't it interesting? I've often tried to find the common denominator, the common factor. And what is it? So when I say common factor, I mean, why do some people get results so quickly? Bloody messages. Why do some people get results so quickly? Some people get results, you hear me? Some people get results in days. For example, there was that lady who got tinnitus from benzodiazepines, and she had it at about a 12 out of 10, in her own words, not mine, for about 2 years. Tried the relaxation techniques, tried the cranial psychotherapy, tried to, no stress, all that sort of stuff. Didn't do anything, didn't work. Yeah, when she followed my advice, her tinnitus went down to a 2 in a couple of days. Okay? I was like, wow, that's amazing. And it's some other people don't get results that quickly, and it takes a long time, and their tinnitus is stubborn. That's what people would call chronic tinnitus, when it keeps going. And so I thought, what is it? What is the common denominator? And I thought, could it be things like age? No, it's not age, okay? Because I thought it was, but it's not. Could it be geographical problem, where they live? No, it's not that either. Could it be the stress at home? No, it's not that. Could it be how they got their tinnitus? It's not that. Could it be how long they've had their tinnitus for? Could it be how severe it is? All these different things. And none of them seemed to really show anything, except for now. Because I've been studying this for a long time and really trying to understand tinnitus. Obviously is what I do, and lucky enough to do this for a job, so all my time goes into it, and helping you guys, of course. Let's see if there are any more questions. Nope. Okay, cool. So as I was saying, if you know my story, you'll know that I only started to understand how to fix tinnitus when I stopped looking for solutions for tinnitus. Okay? And I started to teach myself how to read scientific studies, and I started to realize a bit about chemistry and a bit about the elements. For example, if you have chlorine in the pool and you take away one electron, it becomes chloride, which is still toxic for the body and chloride is so many products, and it's toxic for the thyroid, which controls the fight or flight mechanism, which controls the mitochondria, which freezes it due to a stress response, and that can actually cause your tinnitus to worsen, which is why people often say, Liam, I was so stressed out, I had tinnitus, I went to the doctor, my tinnitus was a 5, the doctor told me it's for life, my tinnitus went to a 7, then I went online, I found you, my tinnitus went back down to a 2. So that's obviously stress has to do with it. Stress plays a role. But why do some people do the stress relaxation techniques and they get amazing results? And then some people get no results. And then why do some people do a fast and it goes down and then it goes up? Or some people do a fast and it goes down and it stays down. Or some people do a fast and it goes up and then it goes down. Why is this happening? And so I've been thinking to myself, trying to figure out what is the common fucking denominator that keeps happening. Now, my old regime, which works, is to tell people just keep going. It's going to be worse in the beginning. And I honestly believe that will never change. When you're doing I hate to use these words, but doing a detox and you're pulling toxins from your brain, okay, which is normally stuck in the auditory cortex and the neurotransmitters that are attached to the cochlea, which use potassium ions to go to the nerve to the brain, okay? When you have toxins such as heavy metals and you have shit from alcohol in the fat stored in your brain, because your brain is about, I think it's about 80% fat and cholesterol, okay, which is why it's so important to eat brain and cholesterol. What happens when you pull those toxins out using magnesium, potassium, phosphorus, and calcium, okay, you pull them out. So what happens when you pull them out? Where do they go? How does the brain, okay, if you're fasting and you're pulling them out, your brain has to avoid being hot. So the rest of your body is going to burn up in your kidneys using a mitochondria by literally heating up and causing them to sweat them out. But that's okay. They can do most of the grunt work inside your body. Your brain can't do that. If your brain heats up too much, you can get brain damage. So what does your brain do? Okay? Your brain pushes it out as quickly as it can. Where does it push it out? Where are the exit routes? Gums, ears, and skin. Okay? This is what the keto rash is, okay, to push it out through there, and it will push it out through skin all over your body. It will segment it, okay? That's how it works. People always say to me, Liam, I'm doing a fast and my gums hurt. Liam, my tinnitus is spiking. It makes perfect sense as a side effect of detoxing, simply because those are the roots, those are the paths that are, first of all, they're in their closest proximity to your brain, which is where the problem lies with tinnitus. Now remember, you have to fix the rest of your body, because what feeds your brain? The rest of your body. We're talking about the lymphatic system, we're talking about the endocrine system, we're talking about the nervous system, we're talking about the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. Those all have to be fixed. Obviously, the nervous system and the lymphatic system and the fight or flight mechanism are 3 completely different things, which we can talk about on another live stream. But let's get back to plants. So, let's talk about DNA, and let's talk about how your brain fixes itself. Sorry, I just keep getting messages. I've got a mate of mine who's having girl troubles. He keeps texting me. So, anyway, let's go back to DNA. So what does DNA do? Okay, so DNA makes you who you are. If you have a problem with your chromosomes, or you have a DNA issue when you're being designed, when you're being converted from sperm to a fetus to birth, okay, you're being designed and you're being built, okay, it's like a blueprint for what you're going to look like. That's why you look like your parents. That's why you look similar to them, and you can even have similar personality traits, okay, because you're being designed by your parents. That's why women will seek out more dominant and confident men, because they want their kids to be dominant and confident. That's the way that it works. So if you're a soy boy, soy latte drinking fag, but yeah, it's not going to work. Anyway, so sorry, bugging my eye. Let's get back to the point. So all through our lives, we ingest and we absorb toxins, and that's just a part of life. Okay, no one on this planet is void of that. Even if you go out into the wilderness, you're still going to get a certain amount of free radicals hitting your skin from satellites. Elon Musk has basically got the go-ahead to blast the entire world with 5G, so we're all fucked as far as I'm concerned, and no one seems to care. Okay, at least the people who seem to care don't really get a chance to talk about it. Anyway, so DNA. When your brain, okay, you're talking about stem cells now, which are basically dormant, and they can become anything. They can become bone, they can become brain, they can become skin, they can become any epithelium, basically. So epithelium is another word for skin. So we were talking about squamous epithelium, which is a part of the skin. Okay, it can become hair, but the DNA decides where that goes. Okay, what it becomes and how it's become properly. It will help heal your wounds. It'll help rebuild your brain. And so there's probably a lot of shit coming down in this water right now, wherever this is coming from pollution, that's getting up into my lungs, and I'm ingesting it through my lungs, and it's being absorbed through the lining in my paper-thin lungs, and I'm absorbing it, and from the phone as well. So what's happening there is I'm damaging my organs, I'm damaging my cells. So let's take this for example. I don't know if you guys can see this turtle here, little buddy. You see that? That's dinner, just kidding. So, back to the point. 1 second. Hey, dries, what's going on? So, where was I? So, what happens is, let's say you eat a lot of sugar, you have carbohydrates, and so you should watch the sugar webinar I did, which is about an hour and a half, and I talk about lactic acidosis. So what do we have in lactic acidosis? When your mitochondria metabolizes sugar, you have waste products. You have lactate, acetate, acetaldehyde, and ethanol. And together they all form a perfect storm. Okay, this is when you eat carbohydrates, and they destroy the cells in your brain and the rest of your body. And so we're interested in the brain here, because that's where the auditory cortex is obviously located inside the brain. The neurotransmitters are located inside the head. There's cell death. And what happens when you have cell death, okay, you have what's called, whether it's forced cell death from apoptosis, or whether it's manual cell death because you have a lack of oxygen in the blood because of lactic acidosis. Because when you have lactic acidosis, you have toxins in the blood. Lactic acidosis can be from mold, can even be from stress, can even be from dietary problems, mostly from dietary problems that compounds, and you have toxins that crowd out oxygen. Lack of oxygen causes cell death. So what have we got there? We've got the brain that's dying, okay? Slowly dying too much. When cells die, I spoke about this, free radicals come out and strip electrons from other cells and cause more cell death. First rule, how can you fix that? Grounding. The electrons from the ground will neutralize the free radicals. But let's get onto plants, and this is where it gets really, really cool. So let's talk about photosynthesizers. Hope you can hear me. Photosynthesizers. Okay, what's that? It's a plant, certain types of plants that you eat, and they directly affect the photosynthesis process in your skin and cause you to become more sensitive to the sun. Okay, now we already spoke about the fact that you need the sun to rebuild the electrons in your ears, okay, in order for your ears to work and get rid of hyperacusis. Because if you have your mitochondria in your ear, which is the powerhouse of the cell in the hair cells, and your mitochondria needs 3 electrons to work properly. You get 1 electron from food. Where do you get the other 2 electrons? From sunlight, okay? So these plants, which is a defense mechanism, by the way, because animals can just run away and hide. A deer, a bunny rabbit, a horse, any animal, you name it, insects even, they can run away, or they can attack you, or they can camouflage. Every animal's got their own unique way of surviving. Who said it? It was like David Attenborough said, like, what, there's like however millions of different species of animals, which means there's 50 million different ways of surviving on this planet, which is so true. You know, there's a food pyramid, there's lions, and then, you know, things change, like hyenas can eat lions, but they've all got defense mechanisms, and they've all got ways of joining together and blah, blah, blah. But plants, this bitch is not going anywhere, okay? Neither are any of these plants here. Now, they still even compete with themselves for sunlight, okay? But here's the interesting thing. As I said before, DNA is responsible for rebuilding matter and having the actual blueprint to rebuild matter. So, when you take these plants, and I'll tell you what they are in a second, when you eat these plants and you digest them, what do? They entangle your DNA, okay, with UV light and cause your DNA to break down in the presence of sunlight. So what does that mean? That makes the thing that gave birth to the human race become one of your worst enemies. Get that around your head. Okay, so what are we talking about? What's one of the main things we're talking about here? Main plants? Celery, okay? How many people recently have asked me or told me about how good a celery juice fast is? That medical medium guy. That guy is a fucking scam artist. he doesn't know what he's talking about. To think that you should do a celery juice fast is insane, okay? I sometimes tell people, look, do it and give it a go and see how you feel, because they're probably going to feel pretty shit after it, and then, you know, a lesson learned in emotion. This is not to spite them. This is just because, you know, sometimes you've really got to go through it to really get the lesson, okay? So, you get this as well. Slaves in a third world country, okay, like this one, who grow the celery and pick it and touch it with their bare hands, get what's called photosynthesized dermatitis, because their hands become so sensitive because they keep touching the celery and these toxins, that their hands begin to get this horrible red pussy rash. You cannot handle celery all day long without gloves. Have you ever just picked up fresh celery, and when you cut it up you get that really strong acidic smell? That's what it is. It's the plant toxins coming out. As soon as you cut into it, bam, it's creating, there's in broccoli as well, I forget what it's called now, but there's Georgia E talks about it. These two chemicals that are totally useless by themselves in broccoli, but as soon as you bite into it, they combine and they create toxins such as oxalates. And oxalates, you know how I spoke before about how your brain uses calcium to detox? Guess what these plants seek out as soon as you eat them? Have a guess. What's the one ground mineral, the trace mineral they want to get to defend themselves and make you sick? Calcium. They want to build calcium oxalates. So then what happens? A, you can no longer detox your brain properly if you're eating too many greens, okay? And B, these calcium oxalates turn into crystals, and your body cannot digest these crystals. It can't do anything with them. And guess what? They're going to sit in your body until you stop eating vegetables altogether, and then you have to go through what's called an oxalate dump, and that is very fucking unpleasant. I cannot tell you guys how many vegans come to me. It's becoming a sick joke, okay? And it's really terrible. I have young girls and young guys and older people as well, and they're just so confused about their health. And what do they get told to do? They get told either two things: reduce the meat, reduce the saturated fat, get your cholesterol lower. All of which was very stupid advice and all wrong. And their doctors are telling them this, by the way. Or they're getting told to just eat more greens and eat more vegetables. Now, oxalates. Let's talk about oxalates. Kidney stones, gallbladder stones cannot be present without oxalates. It doesn't happen. You have to have oxalates in order to get those stones, okay? So that's one thing that we should be concerned about, is people, men and women, pissing blood, okay, because of the stones and the crystals in their bladder, okay? So does that make sense? So what I'm saying here is, if you have these photosynthesizers, such as celery, you cannot rebuild your broken brain. Yeah, that's how it works. It's very complex, but go back and watch this. Okay, and we'll talk about one more, which is salicylates. Okay, now how do I explain this? This is a very should I even talk about it in this video? I think I might save it for the next video. Okay, now I'll talk about it now. So they did a test using salicylates. So salicylates are berries, cherries, and strawberries and stuff like that. Okay, superfoods, super detox foods. Okay, and guess what salicylates are? Guess what they are? They're ototoxic. Guess what else is ototoxic? Antibiotics. Guess what one of the main causes people come to me is from tinnitus? I'm talking about celebrities, rich people, famous people, poor people, men, women, black, white, whatever. Antibiotics. And guess what is the most ototoxic antibiotic of them all? Quinolones. Okay? So these salicylates, salicylates, okay, excuse me if I said this wrong, I apologize. Let me see if there's any questions. Hey Alan, what's going on? How's Tokyo? So, where was I? So there is toxic as antibiotics, okay? They promote candida as well. Do you guys know the oxalates? If let's say you got candida. I have a lot of women who have like vaginal discharge, and they have thrush, and they have candida, and they have rashes, and they have stuff that shows up in their mouth, or it's about to start pissing rain. What does their doctor tell them to do? Cut out the carbs and cut out the bread. Yeah, but eat mostly vegetables. No, that promotes candida growth. Okay, the salicylates especially. So what does a salicylate do? What happened to rats when they were given sodium salicylate, which is virtually the same compound except it's manufactured, but it still exists in multiple citrus foods. So grapefruit, guava, citrus. By the way, citrus and guava are so toxic that you cannot take them at the same time as SSRIs or any other antidepressants, because the liver enzyme of P450 needs so much power to break down the toxicity of the drugs or the citrus foods that if you take them at the same time, you can get fucking liver failure from just doing that, from just taking a couple of SSRIs and having a slice of watermelon in the morning. One-way trip to fuck yourself. Like, seriously, isn't that an eye-opening thing? Maybe we shouldn't be having any of these things. Maybe it's not a good idea. Maybe a balanced diet is just something that's bought and paid for by the food industry to put on the doctor's wall, and they pay for the doctor's courses, so that the doctor's curriculum, the doctor's university takes a grant of billions of dollars, and because of that, the business owners who, are tied in with, and you look all this up, tied in with the pharmaceutical industry and big wheat industries, because America, we're talking about America here, they grow grains. They don't have the weather to grow coconuts and avocados and stuff like that. They want to sell you grains, not fats. That's why the food pyramid is all dairy and bread down the bottom. Eat that. Don't eat much meat. Okay? So what happens when they give salicylates, sodium salicylates to rats? Okay? Guess what? They develop tinnitus and hyperacusis. I shit you not. Look it up. Sodium salicylate. The rats develop hyperacusis and tinnitus. And how do they test that? They test their responsiveness to like a burst of noise. They test the hyperacusis, and their response time increased by about, I think it's like 2,000%, showing a higher sensitivity to noise. They responded quicker, and they responded in a more, they jumped up and they were more frightened because of the noise. Same volume. The only difference was they got a dosage of sodium salicylate, because the fucking rats are not going to eat the citrus because they're not retarded. They just go, no, they don't eat that shit. They'll eat some vegetables, of course. They'll eat rotten meat, which is healthy for you if you consider the bacteria. Anyway, so those are the two things you should not be eating. Photosynthesizers, which, just to recap, they tie in with your DNA, they kill your DNA, and so your DNA therefore forgets how to rebuild your brain. But how do we get around that? How do we fix that? This is reversible. How do we fix it? Ribonucleic acid. What's ribonucleic acid? It's a certain acid that exists in different organs, including the skin and the muscles. Okay, the muscle is the biggest organ in the body, in my opinion. Okay, it's the heart. It's most of you. Okay, so what do? You eat brain, right? And the ribonucleic acid, the blueprint, tells your body, tells the mitochondria, send this shit to the brain, send the protein to the brain. And we can also talk about protease as well, which is in almost every vegetable. And what does that do? It directly inhibits the absorption of protein. And guess what? Protease is also in celery juice. So let's look at a celery juice fast, shall we? What is the point of a fast? What are we trying to do? If you saw my 30-minute video recently on YouTube, you'll know that what we're trying to do is we're trying to get our body into a state of autophagy. So what does that mean? We're trying to, all the cells that have committed suicide, apoptosis in our inner ear and brain organs, and they're shooting free radicals all over the place. So we want to grab those quickly. What do? We ground. But second of all, we want to put our body into a state of fasting. So we want autophagy to kick in, where the mitochondria go around and eat all the other damaged mitochondria and even eat the other cells, okay, where cells eat each other to get rid of the space and stop them from taking energy even though they're dead. Pro tip, cells will still take up supplies, energy, even when they're dead, and just sit with it and not use it. Because the body is so used, after all these millions of years, we're so used to being in a state of autophagy that it just doesn't know what to do without it. So it does nothing. It just sits there and goes, I don't know what to do. And you just wastes the energy. So you could be eating the healthiest foods in the world, but it's not working. So this protease, this chemical compound in celery and any other vegetable as well, not any other but most, it inhibits the absorption of protein. So how do you build cells? Animal protein, okay? So what are you doing when you're fasting? Sure, you're getting rid of the old cells, but you can't absorb protein from the food because you keep doing celery juice fasts, And so you inhibit your body's capacity to build new cells. That's fucking stupid. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. Medical medium is a scam. That guy's a scam artist. It cannot be, like, look at him. I had a message, literally, I hadn't spoken to him to really many people at all. I got a message today from someone who said they went and saw a medical medium and he was supposed to come back after intermission, but he couldn't come back because he was too fucking tired. Guy can't even stand up. Have you seen that guy's face? He doesn't even do public appearances anymore. Now, this is not shallow, but do something whenever you're going to follow someone for medical advice. Just use your eyes and your common sense. I'm not picking on anybody here at all. I'm not. But I'm saying, look at the person who's advising you. If you're seeing a GP, or you're seeing a chiropractor, or you're getting advice from somebody, are they where you want to be? First of all, just have a look at their general health. Do they have bags under their eyes? Is their skin clear? Okay? Do they have white teeth? Are they happy? Can they hold a conversation? Do they lose their train of thought all the time? Is their brain functioning? Okay? Do they smile? Can they hold eye contact? This is if you meet them in person. But of course, if you're just following somebody online, like myself or anybody else or any other person who has achieved something you want to achieve, make sure that they've actually achieved it. Okay? Make sure that they are where you want to be. And if you want curly hair, then yeah, you've come to the right place. I can give you some of my DNA, I guess. Anyway, if there's any questions, now's the time. Hey Ray, what's going on? We're actually just about to, hey Kristen, you guys have just tuned in at the end, but that's okay. I'm going to put the replay up on the Facebook group, the Silencers Facebook group. I'll upload it so you can watch it, but I'm going to hold on for just a couple more minutes. If you guys have posted any questions on that post I made and I didn't answer it, now's the time to ask me, so I'll just hold on. It is bloody hot here in Thailand. I'm about to go renew my visa right now. So yeah, any questions, guys? You can ask me. Okay, it looks like no. Alright guys, if you're watching a replay of this right now on the Silencers Facebook group, and you have, also by the way, I'm going to change something in week 6. So in week 6, you have the option of either going vegan for a week or eating only meat for a week. I'm going to suggest, after speaking with your doctor, always speak with your doctor before you implement any advice I give, please, I mean it, because your medical history, I don't know what it is, but they will. I'm going to advise that you don't go vegan for a week to test it, just go meat eater instead. And another thing, okay, this is very important. This is my rental bike at the moment. It's a little scooter. Another thing, okay, Emily, I'll do that. Another thing, don't just cut out vegetables and fruits and grains and breads straight away, because you'll experience what's called an oxalate dump, and an oxalate dump is very unpleasant. You get rashes, headaches, withdrawals, stuff like that. You slowly go off it. So you can have only meat for 2 days and then some vegetables. Only meat for 2 days, then some vegetables. Only meat for 3 days, then some vegetables. You see what I'm saying there? You wean off it. You never go full charge in. Emily, Spanish black radish is essentially, it actually emits light. So Spanish black radish emits light. So Kristen said did you experience an oxalate dump? It's not nice, is it? I've had it too. It's bloody unbelievable. It's also known as a keto rash. It can be that too. But Spanish black radish, it actually emits light and it goes inside, and light kills the mold in your cells. One of the best things you can ever do for mold is to get as much sunlight as you possibly can. Okay, so obviously you want to stop taking those photosynthesizers I spoke about, because then you won't even be able to get any light. You'll just get burnt straight away. Good question, Ray. So Ray said, if we go vegan and cook the vegetables, would that eliminate oxalates? The answer is mostly. So it will mostly do it. But what's the point? Because you can just not have them. Like just most of the vitamins and minerals, for example, vitamin A in the food, like any whatever vegetable has vitamin A in it, it's not the right form for humans. We need retinol. Vitamin A in plants is the wrong form. It's not retinol. It's not absorbable. We won't absorb it. That's one of the ways that plants defend themselves, as I spoke about, is they'll just make it so whatever you eat, you get no nutritional value from it. So Ray, my answer to that, cooking it is the ideal way, but you need to soak it for weeks. And like we're talking like almonds. The almond is probably one of the highest foods in oxalates. That's going to take weeks of soaking to get it edible, whereas you can just, okay, What's the number one supplement in the world? What is it? The number one supplement? A steak. That is the number one supplement, okay? You can get everything you need from muscle meat. If you need a bit more, you need a bit more. You obviously in this world today, as we're taking all these fruits and vegetables and Wi-Fi is hurting our DNA too, we're going to need some ribonucleic acid because our DNA is going to forget the blueprint of building what we are. What's up, Yaniv? Okay, so we're just on the back end now. We're just finishing up, but I am going to post this live. Does anybody have any questions? And Emily, did I answer your question about Spanish black radish? So also with these supplements, guys, you always want to start off with just a recommended dosage of the brands. That's the best way to go. Take it for a week, 2 weeks, see how you go. And if there are no spikes, after speaking with your doctor, I want you to increase the dosages, the doses. So normally what happens is the recommended dosage is not enough. The doctors just want to get some research done on the supplement, give it to you, and then hope placebo takes effect. That's really what they want to do. I've spoken to people who run research companies and sell drugs. They want a placebo effect to come into play, okay? So they want to give you a dosage and recommend it to you where there's no potential side effect. Because even if you get a rash or a headache, you can still sue the company if the recommended dosage was as such as, you know, you took it. So I hope that explains that. So all the supplements I take way more than's recommended. I take about, when I do take Cataplex B and G, I take about 6 of each in the morning, so that's 12. When I take iodine, I just go to town on it. Selenium, go to town on it. Magnesium, potassium, go to town on it. I wouldn't recommend doing that, and in fact, don't do that. Do not do that. But just take the recommended dosage and then work your way up slowly after speaking with your doctor, because I do not understand everyone here's medical history. That's dangerous. You shouldn't be doing that. So please speak to your doctor. Okay, I'm going to end it now. I'm going to put the replay up. And guys, I hope if you're watching the replay, questions below. Talk soon.